Welcome to another episode of the Lightspeed Investing Podcast. I'm excited to bring on my good friend and fellow client, Kelly, who is a Midwesterner from Ohio, former VP in a conveyor company, now an investor with the futures and commodity financial markets. I'm excited to share his story with you, to give you some inspiration, some motivation. This dude is no longer working, but he is still working on himself as he is here to develop a high income skill set that not only can he have for the rest of his life, but he can pass on to his fellow kids and grandkids. How you doing, my friend? What's going on up in
Doing
Ohio?
doing great. It's good. It's all good.
I
Thank you.
was really excited when I knew that we were talking today because you have a incredible story, and especially with the way that we met, right? Some of the skepticism that you had maybe prevented you from pulling the trigger, but then you decided to actually come into the world of investing in futures and commodities, and now you are making great progress, and you're also very committed. So, to start with the audience, right? You want to share with them why you consider this, and before that, right, like what was like the most lingering question in your head?
Right. So, as you said, I was a VP in a conveyor company, installing conveyors, working all the time, which is a challenge, right? But getting close to that point where thinking about retiring, thinking about doing something else, all those sorts of things. And when we met, you and I met, I was at a seminar to learn another business, right? To get down another path, make money, build wealth, all of those sorts of things. Particularly doing something maybe that I like better, but also something that took less time and effort, wasn't quite so mind-numbingly wearing on you overall, like business can be. Um, so I was intrigued after we had our conversation. That's what I was there for, to find out what options were out there and so forth. So you piqued my interest for sure in what was there. But after we talked, as I started thinking through it, I was like, I don't know. I was pretty skeptical just in general about, what you said could happen, how quick it could happen, what the possibilities were, all those sorts of things. I'd
That's
always
right.
been interested in the market, but
Hmm.
what you described uh, seemed too good to be true.
That's what
So,
everyone says.
yeah.
And
Um,
so for you, what was kind of like the turning point? I mean, but you had the open mind to do a bit more research and due diligence, right?
Yeah, so I looked up the company, right? I did a check on you and looked around, looked into it. When I talked to the team, I said, hey, I'm interested, but, I kind of like to see what's going on. I want to get more information. That kind of was the start of it. Part of it was I was already in that mode. I was in the mode of, let's find something for me I can work on for myself and advance
Hmm.
my own situation,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
And this definitely fit the bill for that, right? So, I got the opportunity to sit on a few training sessions that first week, sit in on a few of them, and really right from the beginning, it was apparent that this is for real. It wasn't a fake out. You and your whole team have been real straightforward, upfront. Uh, you know, um, I guess the word is open with me about all of the aspects of it. It's
Hmm.
not going to be a gift. It's not super easy, but it's doable. And so that after that week of seeing the lessons and going through some live trading, really I decided, yeah, this is it. I need
Well,
to
well,
give
and
this
what
a
stuck
shot.
out to you the most, right? So that the listeners listening in can get a better idea, right? Like in terms of maybe before the trainings versus after the trainings, you had to have seen a couple of things that made it more tangible for you and realistic for you.
Yeah, the before the training, I really couldn't put a finger on how this worked. I mean, I think the
Hmm.
general mindset is you see and hear about the stock market, and that's what
Yeah.
you kind of understand. In order for it to make
Right.
any money, the stock's got to go up, right? So you
Hmm.
buy Amazon and you wait for it to go up 4 points, and you make 4% or whatever the number is, right? And uh, the eye opening piece of this was that that isn't the way you have to do it. You can make money
That's
going
right.
up, you can make money going down, you can make money going sideways if you
Hmm.
know what you're doing. And the other
Exactly.
piece that was huge for me was that it's so scalable. Because initially, some of my worries is, I'm going to have to put 50, 100 grand into this thing, and then I won't know if it's going to be good, bad, or whatever, right?
Sure.
But that
Yeah.
isn't the case. You can start trading with very small amounts of money and
Right.
get bigger as you get more, bring more money
That's
in.
right.
And so that piece makes all the difference in the world, right? You don't have to be a millionaire to start, and you don't have to be a genius to start either. To be honest, that's the other piece. I mean, you have to be dedicated to it. I think, like everything, if you want to be successful, you got to put something into it. But
Absolutely.
there's no specific, you know, skill. I think other than you really want to do it,
Well,
and if you like
and
it,
here's the
sort of
thing
thing.
too. Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Like with what you mentioned, you need the right information for sure. Because even within our realm, if anyone just Googled, and I think I had this conversation with you too, if you just Googled a popular brokerage to trade futures and commodities out of, interactive brokerage will come up. And on that
Mhm.
platform to trade one contract of the Dow, which is the main thing that we trade, the YM, right, is $12,000. To trade one contract of gold and oil respectively is 17 and 24, right?
Yeah,
But because of the fact that we know from industry knowledge that if you utilize a specialist brokerage, you can get that number in terms of the entrance, right, and the barrier to entry down to as low as 500, 1,000, and $2,000 for the regular markets. And not only that, if that is still too much for someone, you can play with the micro markets, which means you can get in for as low as 50, 100, and $200 respectively. And that's, I
yeah,
think, a lot of myths and misconceptions out there due to social conditioning and also right not knowing what you don't know, and thinking that it requires a huge overhead. So now that you have been able to get in the game and you're doing it right, what else have you learned that maybe you have not had before?
yeah. So, I mean, a couple of things that you said there are key, right? And it's like a lot of things is that having the right information as you get into it makes all the difference in the world. Understanding that piece, what kind of a margin you have to have it set in order to start playing in the market at all.
Hmm.
Understanding that piece is huge, but also, again, when I was researching this, did some Google searches, and you can find there's 1,000 people on YouTube with
Mm.
how to trade and how to do this and 99% of it is BS. And that's the other thing I found out. You need the information that I've gotten from your team, as all of it has been spot on, first of all, but all of it is that information that you don't know yet. And once you get it, it's
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's easy to put it into application. It
Right.
takes practice. You got to practice and you got to learn it, and it's got to be
Yeah.
second nature. But it's not complicated. But you don't know what you don't know, and
Yeah,
finding it on
and that's
YouTube is
why.
not going to do it. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's why I'm a big proponent, right? Old school business. Shake those hands, get yourself out there because that's really where how you learn from people who are actively in the trenches, and you get the best information. Now, I'm, focused more so on LinkedIn. That is my number one platform of connecting with people online. So I'm not really dabbling on YouTube much, except for these, releasing these podcast episodes. So I have no clue what you're talking about. Can you please educate me on what the bullshit that you see out there is compared to what you have learned yourself? Just so even for me, right, I get some clarity.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. When I first started doing this, and right before, I was looking all those things up and, trying to learn from it, put some of them into play, whatever. I learned very quickly that's a bad thing. Anybody can make a YouTube, whether they've been successful in the market or not. Your team is successful in the market, doing it every day, and that information applies to what you need to do every day. So I don't watch them at all anymore. I don't look them up. If they come up on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, I skip right past them. That is probably worse than useless. It's negatively impacting your ability to do what you want to do. So
I mean, do they even go live? Like, what kind of misinformation were you getting?
Yeah, not usually. No, but they'll have a chart and they'll say do this and do that on the chart. Here's where you should get in. Here's where you should get out. And that's easy. It's easy enough to do. If you look at a chart and start at the bottom and go to the top, you say, "Oh, get in at the bottom and get out."
But not live. I'm guessing they don't actually
they're not doing it live. And how do you tell?
So it's no difference than just retrospective analysis.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And most of again, a lot of it is not very useful and probably negatively impacting people. So that's one of the things I did early on was shut that down.
Like it's not in a way that can be implemented to where you can actually be profitable, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And so once I became a client, getting the sessions where you're trading or watching trading happening live in the market, on the market as it's happening, that's huge, right? Because you not only hear what is being said about, how you should be doing it, but also seeing it happening live. And is it successful or not? And it's successful all the time. And it makes a huge difference. You just kind of emulate that. Now, it's easier said than done, but again, practice gets you there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you do have to know the language. You do have to know how to navigate the interface. I mean, that's why it's a whole program, right? But I really appreciate you for taking that leap of faith. I really appreciate you for not just coming in, but becoming one of our really committed clients. You want to share with the people, right? Like, how often are you immersed in this, and what do you see for yourself in terms of the future?
So, well, first of all, let me say thank you for coming up to me at that seminar. It's going to change my life. Already has, honestly, but it will for sure in the future. But secondly, yeah, I started with it. Only thing I was doing was the classes, and then I realized that I needed the practice and I needed to. I'm not a slow learner, but I'm not see it once and got it.
Yeah.
But
you're dedicated though.
Probably 10 to 12 hours a day at first.
Okay.
But I started actually trading on the 12th, so a month and a week, or a month and 2 weeks almost.
Just practicing, right? Just practicing the skill set.
Yeah. And taking notes and all that sort, and rewriting the notes and make sure I understood it, reading through all that stuff, going back over the market after the fact and kind of seeing, what happened and what the indicators shown. So yeah, I did that, 10, 12 hours a day. And then, I probably trade, between minimum 2 or 3 hours and 4 or 5 hours sometime. But
Which you technically
the
don't
problem,
need, but you're going above and beyond for you. Or
yeah,
we really just recommend half an hour to an hour and a half. Why are you
yeah.
going the extra mile? Right? What's your
Well,
motivation?
I mean, what you say there is important because your efficiency drops off dramatically after a
Yes,
few
it does.
hours. It's
Yep.
you can watch it, but then for a couple hours, and then after that, you start to get,
Yeah, it's
it's a
your
lot
mental
harder to
acuity.
stay focused. Yeah.
Yeah, your mental
Uh,
acuity certainly wanes as time goes
but
on.
but but I account for that by after a couple hours, I'm just looking to see what the market does versus the indicators. I don't
Yeah.
I don't, get in as much. If something amazing happens, I'll jump in maybe. But for the most part, I'm just watching the market versus the
Mm.
indicators and looking at the lessons that I've got from you guys and applying that. So I'll do that, 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes a day as I'm going. But again, as I said before, this is what I'm doing. So I just take it as this is my job, and that's how I work at it.
Well, but as you're speaking, I can also feel an inherent passion and enthusiasm, right? Like that. Like maybe you enjoy kind of figuring out this process and this journey that you're on right now.
I
Is that
do.
correct?
I really do
Yeah.
enjoy it. For two reasons. One,
Mm.
I love the ability to try to master something. I don't master is probably the wrong word at this stage, but to
Yeah.
learn it and get up to speed and get good at it, right? But the
Mm.
other side of it, for sure, is a selfish aspect in that I can see the future, where the future could be for me, and I want to get
Yeah.
there as soon as possible, right? Um, I think there is a danger of rushing too much, for
Yep.
sure. But this is something you could do a couple hours a day and do very well for yourself. In a month, a year,
And
day,
what does that
whatever.
mean, right? What does that mean in terms of the potential, right? Like obviously, our average client, once they get the skill set down, they can make in between a couple hundred to a couple of thousand a day. Like, what do you see as the possibility and opportunity, and what do you see as realistic for you?
Well, I think well, realistic just based on practice and so forth. $700 to $1,000 a day is soon. Is
That's
coming.
what literally one of my client, Dr. Stephanie, who I featured on I think episode 95, is
Yeah.
hovering right around, and she's on her way to making 2 to 3 grand a day on the Nasdaq.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So that's
yeah,
pretty soon, and that's first level. And if you just do the
yep,
math, $1,000 a day times 20 days a month times
Tr-
12 days,
yeah,
12 months a year, that's
yeah.
decent money. But yeah,
To
and
start, yeah, to start,
that's not doing anything. I don't want to say complicated, but that's just the basics, right? That's not adding multiple contracts and some of
right?
the other things that you can do as you get further down. $3,000-4,000 a day in
Yeah,
a couple of hours, 2-3 hours is certainly within the realm of possibility.
right.
Sometime this year,
But
and then
but
you
I wanna
start.
emphasize, right? When you were the VP at the conveyor company, right? What were you doing most of that? Were you out and about? Were you in the field? Right? Because
Yeah,
this game, I just want people to recognize you are in the comfort of your own home, and your setup, right, and your business expenses is basically your computer, your electricity bill, and the internet,
yeah,
right? So I
yeah.
feel like that additional component, right? Why don't you talk about that versus like maybe all the previous endeavors that you've been a part of?
Yeah, that's one of the things that really hugely grabbed my attention because, uh, yeah, well, there's a bunch of things to look at, and this isn't uncommon. I'm not saying I'm the only one out there, but there are people out there working 60, 70, 80 plus hours a week, right?
Yeah,
Making good money maybe, but putting a lot of time in traveling. I was on the road a lot, blah, blah, blah. And with this, yeah, you can do it from your home, but not only that, more importantly, you can do it from anywhere. For
Exactly.
me right
Yeah.
now, I would need an extra monitor, a
Yep.
couple $100. You can get an extra monitor and take your laptop, and I could do this from
Mm.
anywhere that had Wi-Fi.
Yep.
You could go on vacation, you could go visit, you could go travel, you could do whatever. Do this
Hmm.
from, you know, till 10 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning or something, and then, you know, do something else the rest of the day. And that's for sure a possibility, and in my plans, coming up. I'm not there yet, obviously, but yeah, I see that. I see the possibility of that for sure coming up.
Absolutely. And money, right, is just a tool. So by learning this skill set, right, and having direct control of your own destiny, I'm curious, like from a personal achievement and desire standpoint, what would be like the thing that would be over the top for you, over the moon for you? Like, man, if I can get to this level where it allows me not necessarily the amount of money, but the freedom, right? Like, what are you most excited for in that regards?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of semi-retired now already
Mm.
because of this, but that piece, being able to have my days free to do something else, whatever else I want to do, travel. I love riding dirt bikes. I could do that.
Oh,
I could
okay.
do this in the morning in Georgia, for example, and ride dirt
Uh
bikes in
huh.
the afternoon, or Florida, or Texas, or
Do they have
wherever I
good
want
dirt
to do.
bike trails down south there?
They do. Georgia, yeah,
Okay.
that's a lot of good ones.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
I could go down there and do this in the morning and go ride in the afternoon. Easily could do
I love
that.
it, man. I love it.
And it changes it changes everything really.
Mm.
Um, and for that matter, uh, not not really having to get another job,
Hmm.
but not having to worry about how I parse out the retirement funds either. That piece, not that I can't retire without this and be okay, but that freedom from, I don't have to worry about any of that anymore. I won't here shortly.
Mm.
Is huge.
So is the
Your old
freedom,
outlook.
right? But also it sounds like what you're saying is security and a peace of mind, right?
Yeah,
That kind of insulates you. That, like, you're creating a moat, right, against any potential catastrophes that the world may face.
control of your own destiny is
Mm.
huge, right? I can do my success in this is completely up to me. If I use the
Exactly.
information that I'm getting,
That's right.
just
That's
put
right.
that into application, I can do whatever I want. How long I want to
Yep.
work, how much I want to work, when, how much money I make, all of that is self-determined. That's the
That's right.
first piece. The
And
second part
I
of it,
love that. Uh huh.
yeah, that's huge for me. And it's not, what the chairman of the board decided to do with the company, or, you know, manufacturing screwed this up, or none of that makes any difference. I'm the only one
Yep.
that determines what happens. And the other piece, which, if everybody looks at the market, it's like, oh, well, boy, the market's going to be down, which it is currently right now. Doesn't matter. I don't even think about that anymore. I
I
mean, I
know.
still have
I
money
know.
in the
Isn't it
market
great?
for sure,
Yep.
but I don't. It doesn't matter really if the market's going to be up or down, right? If it moves, that's the only thing that makes any difference, and it moves
I
all the time.
remember your reaction when I told you, when you learned this game and you learn it right, we futures and commodity traders can be impervious to market collapses and any economic cycles. And I remember your face, but now that you're experiencing it, right?
Yeah,
How do you feel, right? Now that you're living the actual
yeah,
reality.
yeah. It's a paradigm shift for sure.
Yeah.
Because, and I can't remember how you worded it, but the whole, what you get from the media or from other people talking to you, it kind of gets built, kind of gets burnt in your head. This is what being in the market means. This
Hmm.
changes that
Well,
completely.
negative news always promote negative media because negative media gets more attention, and their whole job is to
Yeah,
get ratings, right? That's literally what like
right.
media companies are there for.
Yeah.
Now, what I think another piece that I said was, unlike traditional assets like trading stocks, and like mutual funds and bonds, that's more fundamental analysis. So Warren Buffett reads 8 hours, 10 hours a day. Yes, he loves it, but he has to do his due diligence. You got to research your quarterly earnings. You got to research who the CEO is. You got to research the trajectory of the company. And if you
Yeah.
feel good, you are, essentially putting a vote, a capitalistic vote on that stock, the share of that stock, thinking that, it's probably going to take off, right? But here, this is none of that is relevant. This is pure technical analysis, similar to diagnosing x-rays, CT scans, and MRI scans. If you can diagnose these charts the right way, they have the potential to become your own ATM machine. And the better you get at it, that ATM machine can evolve to your own bank, mainly, like I said, because of pure technical analysis.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that appealed to me right away was, I came up through the technical world, and
Mm-hmm.
that aspect has always been something that intrigued me, and I enjoy it, and I like doing that sort of thing. I like technical stuff, and this is right down that path. Uh, I don't hate the fundamental information, finding out about
Right.
stocks and whatever, but it's nice that it doesn't affect my success or failure in this
Right.
situation,
That
right?
and that's what you're
Uh,
looking for. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and just
And it,
reading
and
what's
it, and
happening in front of you.
Yep.
It's all
And
that
the
matters.
pace, though, at which these markets move as well, right? I think it's a little
Yeah,
bit more exciting, right?
yeah.
than
Oh
the
yeah.
volatility
Oh,
or
for
lack
sure.
of volatility that you see in stocks. Now,
Right.
when you say you come up, right, like with a technical background, like were you always a science, engineering, math person? I'm just kind of curious, like from your perspective, who do you think this would be a great opportunity for, and who do you think it is not for?
Yeah. Well, I do think because I've either been a technician. I started in the Navy as a technical person working on weapon systems. But I've either been a technician or in charge of technical people my whole career,
Hmm.
basically. Service providers, that sort of thing.
Sure.
And I would say the mindset for those people, the discipline is definitely there. You don't, they're going to want to be, technical people, highly technical, but people who fix electronic components, robots, and that sort of thing for a living, uh, boy, this is right up that alley. They would eat this up. Programmers, that sort of thing. This is definitely something that would interest them for sure. And instead of writing a program and have to sell a program or the company pays you to write it or whatever, it's like the money comes right out of it. It's like squeezing a sponge. It's
That's
a
right.
whole different. It's a whole different game for sure.
Yep. As
Yeah.
soon as you enter and exit with the with, by a click of a button, the money is right in front of you in your screen, and you
Yeah.
can withdraw it to your bank account, and you'll get it within like
Yeah.
3 to 5 business days.
It's immediate. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, absolutely.
that's nice. It's a
Yeah,
change for sure, but you see the efforts of your success
hmm.
immediately. It's pretty good.
I do think you do have to have a certain level of commitment because I mean that is the commonality amongst our clients who turn the corner and become successful with this. I mean, you're dedicated. You're initially spending 10 to 12 hours a day, even though you don't need to. You technically only need to like get started with 3 to 5 hours a day. Or a week, but you're like you're doing that in a day. But that's very reminiscent of a client who took Charles, right? He took 76K to 900K in 5 weeks. And he was telling, I remember when I did a similar interview with him, just getting his insights on his journey. He was telling me he like would spend 10 to 12 hour days on the weekends, and his energy level did not wane at all because he was so passionate, right? And
Yeah.
and the fact that he wanted to make something out of this. So in my opinion, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is regardless of whatever program you enroll yourself into, there's this formula, right? Like you have person A, and then you have a program, and then you have success. And then you have person B in the same program, and you don't see success. Now, if we remove the variable of the program, Kelly, what do you
Yeah.
see, right? It's you have the person who's a success, and you have the person who's not a success. And so it really boils down to like, are you a winner? Do you naturally have the right habits and the mindsets to become someone that is successful? Right. Like I always tell people, hey,
Yeah.
no matter what, regardless of your help or not, I'm going to be a future NBA team owner. Right. Because that's my purpose. That's my destiny. And I am going to make damn sure it happens, and I think that there's that certain level of attitude that you got to have regardless of who is willing or not willing to help you to make it
Yeah.
happen on your own. So I really appreciate you for taking the time to assess if this was the right fit for you, coming into the program and being so committed and dedicated. That really makes me happy. That makes me enthusiastic to work with someone like you. And so thank you so much for coming on to share your story and your journey. I'm excited to talk to you again, check in on you, and perhaps do a series of this where you can update the people, where maybe in the future I can call you Dirt Bike Kelly. Okay. Listen, it was a pleasure having you on. Any parting words of wisdom and thoughts that you want to share with the audience?
I would say this, as you kind of have pointed out. I don't know if this is for everyone, but that is determined by that person, right? The
Mm-hmm.
only reason this wouldn't be for you is if you decide it's not for you. Because if you put the effort in, whatever you put in is what you're going to get back out of it, because it's all about what you're doing. And again, I've got a long ways to go, but it's easy to see, envision where the future is going to be, and that piece is, you just gotta get in and go after it, and that's it. So
I love it. I
that's
love
one
it.
thing
Well,
I would
thank you
say.
so much.
gotta
Yeah,
go, gotta go get it.
I appreciate you, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again and again. Okay. I hope you have a blessed
Thank you.
rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks. Good seeing you.
Absolutely. Always.